What's going on, Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. This is my review for WCW Monday Nitros for the 16th of October 1995, and also reviewed the Go Home show to Halloween Havoc. So that'll be on the 23rd of October's edition of Nitro. So I'll get to the 16th of October's episode first before I get to the 23rd of October's episode later on. So the first match to kick off Monday Nitro for the 16th of October of 1995, we got DDP versus Johnny B. Bad. So the storyline is this. I watched Brian. Oh yeah, by the way, I will review tomorrow. I will review Halloween Havoc 1995. We're in the Halloween season, and I watched Brian Zane's review of the show. He said about I think I think it was on an episode of Saturday Night Main Event, not the WCW Saturday Night Main Event. It was supposed to be Sting versus Johnny B. Bad for the United States title. I don't know they fought for the United States title. I don't know. That could be a good match between Sting and Johnny B. Bad. They're good workers. I heard the storyline is that DDP kind of basically really put holes into Johnny B. Bad's car, and this is the funny part. They had this segment. They kind of cut to a segment on Saturday Night Main Event with Johnny B. Bad, DDP. I'm guessing with Max Muscles, basically DDP's heavy. I'm guessing like Mark Merrow, not Mark Merrow. Sorry, Max Muscles basically spilled the beans, said about basically. I'm guessing like DDP set four holes into he basically punched four tires into Johnny B. Bad's car, and there's really funny reaction of Johnny B. Bad's. He said about four flat tires. I said about a flat tire. That was like that you can probably find it on YouTube. I kind of like that. That was a good reaction. So anyway, so you attack DDP to set up this match on this episode of Nitro. Fucking sucks. And guess what? It was a short match. Basically, you had DDP. Basically, there was before the start of this match. Basically, I feel like DDP knocked this mascot over. I don't know what city for this episode of Nitro was on. Basically, he knocked this mascot over, and then and the match ended about a moment of seconds. I don't know how many seconds. About 2, 5 seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Anyway, so basically, DDP kind of hit Johnny B. Bad with the TV title, and the match really basically ended in a DQ. So Johnny B. Bad won this match by a DQ, and also I'm guessing this is setting up the rematch at Halloween Havoc between DDP versus Johnny B. Bad for the TV title. Anyway, move on to the next match. The next match we've got Chris Benoit make really his first WCW match against Eddie Guerrero. This was a really good match. This is in the pre cruiserweight era because the cruiserweight division will be launched in 1996, the following year. I say it was a good match. They had bad matches in the next few years, and also they had bad matches in the WWE. Anyway, it was a really good match. In the end, Benoit, I think he worked on the arm of Eddie Guerrero. I'm guessing Benoit's the heel and Guerrero is the babyface. Anyway, so in the end, you had Benoit hit Guerrero with the Dragon Suplex to win this match. Yeah, they have better matches in the next few years, not just in WCW, but mostly in WWE. I think the final match they had was, I covered it months ago. Was that the final match was basically One Night Stand in 2005. The ECW tribute show. Go and check it out. I covered that show. I think it was in April. I did. Anyway, so. Yeah, that was basically the match of the night. After that, the show went shit. Awful. Yeah, this has turned out to be a really shit show. Okay, and then we got this promo segment with the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, and the Giant. So basically, Taskmaster said about he made me, Hulk Hogan made me evil. Basically, brought up last week's basically episode of Nitro when basically they, Giant cracked Hogan's neck and shaved the mustache. I don't know. There's a buzzing in the background. I don't know what the hell is that. Anyway, so basically, Giant cracked the neck of Hogan's. Cracked the neck of Hogan's and basically shaved the mustache of Hulk Hogan. Basically, like Hulkamaniacs born into the saying the prayers and taking the vitamins, and then basically, Giant's promo was a bit okay. It was good. Actually, it was good. Basically, he said about like he said they're kind of hyping up this monster truck match at Halloween Havoc at Cobo Hall. Basically, he said about grill versus grill, machine versus machine. Basically, he's gonna put really throwing Hulk Hogan off the really push him off the building and dragged his carcass into the ring, stripped the world title off him, and basically in the end of this promo segment, basically Giant put his hand onto the head of Gene Okerlund. I'll get to my thoughts of the Giants. The first formation of the Giants in the 25th of October's episode review of Nitro a little bit later on. So anyway, then we got Ming versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. This is basically the rematch from Uncensored 1995. That was basically the first pay-per-view I covered on this channel. I've been doing it since April. I think it was April when I started reviewing, classic WCW pay-per-view reviews. The very first one I did was the very first Uncensored pay-per-view of 1995. Yeah, this was fucking. This match was short, but that match on Uncensored was boring as fuck. It was that was a karate match. That was like, what the fuck? Anyway, so yeah, the match was short. Basically had Ming basically super kicked Duggan in the face and used this type of trap hold onto Duggan. Duggan submitted. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ming or Haku. I don't think he's that good as a worker, to be honest. Yeah, he had a decent good matches with Sting at Great American Bash and Bash to the Beach of that year, but he's not that good. I'm sorry, he's just simply not that good. He's definitely his size. I'm gonna be really honest. So and then we got Hulk Hogan's promo segment. He is wearing all black. He actually he wear black the previous week on Nitro, but basically he has this segment. It's the same segment what WWF will do in the 80s and the early 90s. I'm not going to get into it. It was, Hogan kind of rambled on. So that he said about, he basically dubbed himself as, what was it, Don Carry On, so about protecting the Hulkamaniacs, pretending like saying your prayers and taking your vitamins. And basically he said about, making the promoters cry. He kind of he didn't really brought up Andre the Giant's name. He said about like, he body slam, basically Andre the Giant, from WrestleMania 3, from 94,000, it's actually 93,000. I will review WrestleMania 3 when it's WrestleMania season. That'll be in April and March or April. Anyway, so basically he's gonna what Hogan's gonna simulating that he's basically gonna body slam the Giant into his grave next to his father. Yeah, they're kind of building the Giant up. He's going to be, he's actually Andre the Giant's son. That was BS. I know it's kayfabe because, Paul White and Andre Rusanoff are two different wrestlers because Andre's from France, Paul White's from America. I think they're both the same height. Paul White and Andre. Big Show, you call them. And I think that the weight difference are completely different. I think Andre's 500 pounds. Big Show is 400 pounds. Look at the Giant's physique. He's like, he's not fat. You can tell he had some. He doesn't look like a bodybuilder right now. He's got abs, but look at him. He had some biceps, but he's not like super jacked. But But like in later years in his run in the WWE, he's all fucking fat. The Big Show. Anyway, so and he said to Jimmy Hart, "Don't get in my way." Yeah, mostly he's just rambling on. I was kind of lost into Hogan's promo. I'm not saying Hogan's bad. Hogan is good. Hogan is a good promo, but sometimes he kind of rambles on. Sometimes I kind of like lost connection sometimes. But anyway, moving on to the main event. Originally, it was supposedly it was Ric Flair versus Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman. And I thought it was a handicap match. Sometimes it's starting to be an okay handicap match, but sometimes handicap matches there could be a hit or a miss. Anyway, so and also then Sting came along, and this was a tag team match. Like, what the fuck is that? What the actual fuck is that? I thought it was a handicap match, and all of a sudden, hey, and all of a sudden it's just a tag team match. What the fuck? Who's writing this shit? I'm not doing, like I said, I'm not doing this to shit on WCW. I'm not like some people, not all, but some of these wrestling fans will shit on WCW. I don't really do that because sometimes, like I said, WCW, they produce a lot of bad shows over the years, but sometimes they produce a lot of good shows. But you know, I'm not, I just like. What's going on? Like in this main event, what the fuck is going on? Sting is just basically showing up, and Sting, Flair's in trouble. Basically it was the number games basically catching up to Flair, and also Sting came along, basically close on both Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman, and also then Pillman and Anderson left the ring, and it was a fucking count out. What the fuck is this? What the living fuck? And it's also, and this is planting seeds for the match at Halloween Havoc. And also, I forgot to mention this, the start of this episode review. They brought this segment on an episode called Pro. WCW had a lot of shows over the years, in the company's existence. Nitro, Thunder, I think a thing called Worldwide. It's basically a forum show and Saturday night main events. There were a lot of shows WCW were producing. And had this segment like Sting, talk about like accept his challenge to face, Double A and Brian Pillman at Halloween Havoc. If you stab me in the back, I'm gonna kill you. Some of that shit. I'm kind of, basically, you have to wait until Halloween Havoc. That's not gonna go in for fruition. And afterwards, after this match, basically like Sting, I think he's got. Oh yeah, I think he said. Before I'll get to that pro segment between Flair and Sting. He said about I'm gonna leave you for dead. If he's gonna turn his back on him. Anyway, so back to the closing segment on the 16th of October's episode of Monday Nitro. Yeah, Sting was basically putting over Flair. He said about you proved me, you had guts. To face your former brother, you're not really brothers in real life. Arn Anderson, Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, but fellow members of the Horsemen. And you said your heart's beating out your chest, and basically, he's basically like, oh, you proved me wrong, and high five, and you're the greatest Stinger. And that was the end of this episode of Monday Nitro for the 16th of October 1995. This was shit. I'll get to my final thoughts in the end. So moving on to the 23rd of October's episode of Monday Nitro. This is the go home show to Halloween Havoc. The first match we got Randy Savage versus Kurosawa with Colonel Robert Parker in his corner, and then I feel like the little seconds of the match basically had Sting not Sting. Why did I say Sting? Sorry, Savage pushing over Colonel Robert Parker over, and then the whole bulk of the match. You had Kurosawa working really I think he kind of worked on the arm or the elbow of Randy Savage. I think he was wearing this elbow pad. I'm guessing he's got a bit of a tricep injury, I think. But yeah, the match sucked, to be honest. Kurosawa sucks. That match with Craig Pillman, not Pillman, Pittman, sorry, Craig Pittman. This was like weeks ago. I covered. Yeah, that was, he was. Well, I'm not saying Pittman's terrible. It was okay, but wasn't fantastic. But this match sucked. It was boring, dragged. Yeah, Michael. Almost. Why I keep saying Michael? Kurosawa sucked, to be honest. He was just there for his size, Like he's not like, I'm not saying all Japanese wrestlers could do flips and dives, but most of them completely. Because some of these Japanese wrestlers they do a lot of botches. Like like look of was it Shinsuke Nakamura? He was never that great in the ring. He was botching in New Japan. He kind of improved in later years, but I'm just saying, like, not all Japanese wrestlers are really good in the ring. Some of them are not that good, Anyway, so yeah, Kurosawa sucked. Anyway, back to this opening match from the 23rd of October's episode Nitro. In the end, Savage basically hit Kurosawa with the diving elbow, and that was it. And then we got the DLD segment. The lights gone out. We got, I'm guessing this is King Curtis. He's basically the leader of the Dungeon of Doom. I can't understand what this dude's saying. I think it was just the face paint and the makeup. That could be the reason. And then you got the Yeti in the blocker eyes. Basically, Kevin Sullivan introduced the insurance policy. And Giant, oh boy, Giant's basically he got a good promo. He said about like Hogan has one life. He's comparing Hogan to a Bengal tiger, and then he said, "Howlin' Havoc, I'm gonna take your life and the world title." And I think Sullivan says one key point. He said about Hogan has a little bit of evil in him. Yeah, and also Giant kind of dubbed himself. He said, "I'm gonna be the true immortal one." He called himself the Immortal Giant. And that was it. And yeah, my thoughts on the Giants, in his first year in WCW, Paul White the Giant, it was cheesy, but yeah, his character kind of changed over the years in his wrestler run in WCW when he was, part and also feuding with the NWO. But yeah, it was a bit cheesy. I think the Giant Paul White, he kind of made this character, he made it work. I'm kind of put it over, but yeah, and like they kind of trying to make him as the next top star, and not top star, but make him as, he make him as a future star in WCW, and he did. I think he won two or three times. WCW World Champion in his run. He's only running the company. I think he was a 3-time WWE champion. Until he's running in WWE. And former world champion, former ECW champion. I'm guessing he's a 7-time world champion in both. Comparing, I think it was two times he won WCW. He won the world title in WCW. Anyway, so basically, yeah, he's like basically the homegrown talent at the time. This is like years before Goldberg became one of the company's next top, really biggest star in the late 90s. But in the mid 90s, he was basically the homegrown talent. He's not like a guy come from WWF. He came from the power plant, and he made this character work. Yeah, it's kind of cheesy. With the whole fucking, they're kind of building up this Yeti thing, building up the stuff. The DLD was a dud, But like I said, he just made the character work, making out they made him as this freak of nature. A true monster, because WWE fucked Paul White over the years in his 2 runs in World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE for short. They don't know what they do with him, but in WCW they made him as a freak of nature, a giant, a fucking monster. Anyway, and then we got Hulk Hogan's promo segment after the DLD segment. Hogan kind of rambled a lot. I'm not going to get into it. He rambled a lot. I'm kind of speculating, like, after you defeat the Giant, you say you probably face like Savage and Sting or Luger, and also he took off the neck brace, and also I don't get this Hulk Hogan in the dark side thing. It's fucking stupid. He's wearing black, and it's very funny he wear black again 1 year later when he was the leader of the NWO, or second in leader of the NWO, because the main leader was Eric Bischoff. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not saying, like I said, Hogan's not a bad promo. He's good, but sometimes he kind of he kind of rambles. He's not really getting to the actual points, the bullet points. And also, he's not acting heelish. He's a babyface. He's not acting like a tweener. He's not like, he's still kind of promos as the red and yellow Hulk Hogan. He's just like, what the fuck? What's the point having Hogan wearing black? He's not kind of like not calling like dark promos. He's basically just doing the same thing, like saying "dude" and "brother." Like, what do I do? Hulkamania runs wild on you. It's just like, it's just basically who's running this at the time. This is before Vince Russo was in charge, but I know Bischoff wasn't in charge. I'm guessing Sullivan was the booker. Who's writing this shit, man? It's like, you had Hulk Hogan say, "Hey Hulkster, huh? Let's ditch the yellow and red. After you got your neck broken by the Giant, and instead of your cutting dark promos, you're just cutting the same promos as like the old Hulk Hogan." It's just like, what the fuck? So anyway, moving on to the next match. We've got Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko, future members of the Horsemen and also the Radicals, taking on Eddie Guerrero and JL, aka Jerry Lynn under the mask. And this was a good tag team match. Jerry Lynn he never do much after this. He never stuck around in WCW afterwards. I think he left and he had to run in ECW. It's very funny that 1 year later, basically you could tell, like, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Dean Malenko, they end up being part of the cruiserweight division, and also, 1 year later they end up putting, and also Chris Jericho will join that elite, and Rey Mysterio, this match was good cruiserweight action. In the end, I think Jerry Lynn, basically rolled up Dean Malenko for the victory. So I'm guessing Malenko, did he win? I think I can't remember. I covered it on Monday. I'm guessing he lost. Actually, yeah, he's lost. He lost to Eddie 2 weeks ago on Nitro. On the I think it was on the on the 2nd of October's episode of Nitro, and then he's lost in the tag team match with Chris Benoit against Eddie Guerrero and JL. I call him Jerry Lynn, but yeah, it's just like, it's not like WWE right now. It's all 50-50 booking. You end up winning 1 week and the next week you lose. And afterwards you got Brian Pillman basically beating down Eddie Guerrero, attacking from behind. He did the 4 Horsemen sign. Yeah, this is planting the seeds of the reunite version, really the reformation of the Horsemen. I'll explain it when I review Halloween Havoc of 1995 for tomorrow. So yeah, good match. Moving on to the main event. The main event, we've got Harlem Heat, Booker T and Stevie Ray with Sister Sherry, Sensational Sherry in their corner, taking on Sting and Lex Luger. It wasn't not too bad of a tag team match. It's not on the same level as Malenko and Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero and Jerry Lynn. It was okay for what it is. Sting came to the rescue. You basically had Harlem Heat as a heel, beating down Luger for a little bit. Sting came to the rescue, and I think in the end, Sting hit like a crossbody and pin. I think it was Booker T, while like basically had basically had Stevie Ray and Luger punch on the right-hand side corner of the ring. And then afterwards, you got the Dungeon and Doom members. You got like the Giant, Zodiac, Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. You had the Giant basically chokeslammed both Sting and Luger, and then Hogan, the Hulkster came around. I don't know, Hulk Hogan. Basically face to face. Basically that some punches, and then I'm guessing like Savage, Sting basically joined the brawling because you got like Zodiac and Sullivan joining the brawl, and then the end of this episode of Monday Nitro, the ice broke, and then we got the fucking Yeti. I'll explain more when I review Halloween Havoc '95. And this is not really a Yeti, to be honest. It's a fucking mummy. Like I said, this is. I'm laughing my ass off, man. It's just like, who's writing this shit, man? It's just like, it's just like it's bad, but it was so funny at the same time. It's so cheesy. It's cheesy shit. I understand they're trying to recapture the golden moments, the golden years of the WWF in 1980. The eight, no, I'm trying to say not 1980, but trying to capture the golden era of the WWF in the 80s, and trying to do it in the mid 90s WCW. It's just like, what the fuck is, it's, you could tell at this point, it was basically pro wrestling was going backwards because of the cheesy gimmicks. Not just in in WCW but in WWF. They got to change. In the rest of the 90s. The other thing is kind of good was ECW because they're doing the edgier shit. But anyway, so that's another topic for another time. So anyway. So yeah, my final ratings for Monday Nitros for the 16th of October and the 23rd of October of 1995. I give it about, I'm going to give the 16th of October's episode of Nitro a 3. That was fucking shit. This is basically a one-match show. The one match you probably watch, if you find this on the network, is probably Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero. It's not a classic, but it's the only good match worth watching on the network. Mostly in the bad. I'm gonna say DDP and Johnny B. Bad. It's just building up to their match at Halloween Havoc. That was ended like in seconds. Ming versus Jim Duggan, and I have to put fucking Arn Anderson, Pillman, Brian Pillman versus Ric Flair and Sting. That's in the bad. Hogan's promo, I don't really put it in the good, bad, and okay. For me, it didn't really do nothing for me. I put the Taskmaster. Actually, I'll put it in the middle. The Taskmaster Giant promo segment. It was okay. Giants. They had some key bullet points, but they're not saying too much. So yeah, that was not a good show. Anyway, and as for the 23rd of October's episode of Monday Nitro, oh boy, this is a mixed bag. You had some good, you had some up, and you had some downs. Basically, yeah, like in the good, I have to go with I'll go with Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero and JL tag team match. That was good. And in the the Holland Heat versus Sting and Luger match, it was okay. It's not on the same level as the previous tag team match. I'll put it in the middle. Free in the fucking bag. Free in the fucking bag. Yeah, actually, technically, it wasn't a mixed bag. Yeah, actually, it was a mixed bag, to be honest. So, yeah, in the bad has to be, Randy Savage versus Kurosawa. That was shit. That was a boring 6-minute match. And then you got the fucking debut of the Yeti. You're not gonna see. It was only cut very short. And then you got the Hogan segment. That was just, it's just like Hogan rambled. And I don't put the DOD segment as a, I put it in the bad, but you know, like a little bit, you know, it had a Giants promo was a bit good, you know, it was a bit actually it was okay, but yeah, it was just like cheesy shit. You had the fucking Curtis, King Curtis, basically, you know, can't understand what he's saying. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, that was the go home show to Halloween Havoc. You know, you have to wait and find out while I review it on Saturday. So anyway, so hope you enjoy my review of WCW's Monday Nitros for the 16th of October and the 23rd of October 1995 reviews. Hope you like it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Central 9 Network on YouTube. And we'll be back next Friday for another review of WCW Monday Nitro. That'll be the aftermath from Halloween Havoc will be better. You know, it's 1995. You know, you're not gonna get good shows. You know, like I said, Nitro will get better from the next couple of years. You know, into '96 and '97 and '98 and '99, 2000. Absolutely not. So, you know, because '95 was a bad year in both in WCW and WWF. You know, creative wise and booking wise, you know. Anyway, so I'm enough talking for one day. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Check you later.